The year 2020 will forever be etched in human memory. It marked the start of an unprecedented global crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic. This novel coronavirus swept across the globe, leaving a trail of illness, death, and societal disruption in its wake. As of 2025, the world still grapples with the pandemic's long shadow. Millions have perished, economies lie shattered, and life as we knew it has been irrevocably altered. Understanding the origins of COVID-19 is not merely an academic pursuit. It is a matter of paramount importance, essential for preventing future pandemics and safeguarding humanity's future. The emergence of COVID-19 presents a profound scientific mystery with far-reaching implications. Determining the virus's source is crucial for several reasons. First, it is vital to understand how this pandemic began and learn from any missteps or oversights that may have contributed to its emergence. Second, identifying the origins of COVID-19 can help scientists develop more effective vaccines and treatments for this virus and future threats. Third, uncovering the truth about COVID-19's origins is crucial for rebuilding trust in institutions and fostering international cooperation, both of which are vital for navigating future global challenges. The quest to unravel the origins of COVID-19 has been fraught with challenges, conflicting narratives, and a lack of transparency. From the outset, two primary theories have emerged to explain the virus's appearance: natural transmission from an animal host to humans and the possibility of a laboratory-related incident. These competing theories have sparked heated debates, fueled conspiracy theories, and strained international relations. The search for answers has been further complicated by misinformation, political maneuvering, and a reluctance from some quarters to engage in open and transparent investigations. Despite these obstacles, unraveling the mystery of COVID-19's origins remains a crucial task, one that demands rigorous scientific inquiry, international collaboration, and a commitment to uncovering the truth, however uncomfortable it may be. From the early days of the pandemic, two primary narratives have emerged regarding the origins of COVID-19. The first, endorsed by the Chinese government, posits a natural origin. This theory suggests that the virus jumped from an animal host, likely a bat, to an intermediary animal, possibly a pangolin, and finally to humans at a wet market in Wuhan, China. Chinese authorities have consistently maintained this narrative, pointing to the presence of live animal markets in Wuhan and the city's history as a hub for wildlife trade. The second narrative, which gained traction in the United States, particularly during the Trump administration, suggests a possible link between the outbreak and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV, a research facility known for its work on bat coronaviruses. Proponents of this theory, often referred to as the lab leak hypothesis, argue that the virus could have accidentally escaped from the WIV, either through an infected lab worker or a breach in biosafety protocols. While the Chinese government has vehemently denied any connection between the WIV and the outbreak, the lab leak hypothesis has gained increasing credence over time. A growing body of circumstantial evidence, including the WIV's proximity to the initial outbreak site, its research on bat coronaviruses, and reports of lab workers falling ill with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019 has fueled speculation about a possible lab origin. The lack of conclusive evidence to definitively prove or disprove either theory has further fueled the debate and hampered efforts to reach a consensus on the virus's origins. The Chinese government's reluctance to allow independent investigations into the WIV and its handling of the initial outbreak has only deepened suspicions and hindered progress in uncovering the truth. The media's coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and the debate surrounding its origins has been marked by evolving narratives, shifting perspectives, and accusations of bias and censorship. In the early days of the outbreak, most mainstream media outlets largely echoed the World Health Organization's WHO initial assessment, which favored the natural origin theory and downplayed the possibility of a lab leak. This stance was influenced in part by early scientific papers that dismissed the lab leak hypothesis as a conspiracy theory and by the Chinese government's assertive efforts to control the narrative. However, as the pandemic wore on and more information came to light, the media's perspective on the lab leak theory began to shift. Investigative reports, FOIA requests, and whistleblowers started to raise questions about the transparency of both the Chinese government and the WHO. The revelation that the US National Institutes of Health, NIH, had funded gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the WIV, albeit indirectly through a grant to the EcoHealth Alliance, further fueled suspicions and prompted calls for greater scrutiny of the lab leak hypothesis. By 2021, the lab leak theory, once dismissed as fringe speculation, was being taken seriously by many mainstream media outlets. News organizations like the New York Times, the Washington Post, and CNN began publishing in-depth investigations into the lab leak hypothesis, exploring the evidence and giving voice to scientists and experts who had previously been marginalized for questioning the natural origin narrative. This shift in media coverage reflected a growing skepticism towards the official narrative and a recognition that the lab leak hypothesis, while still unproven, could no longer be easily dismissed. The media's evolving stance on the origins of COVID-19 highlights the importance of open inquiry, independent journalism, and a willingness to challenge prevailing narratives even in the face of official pressure and scientific consensus. As the world grappled with the COVID-19 pandemic, a controversial question emerged. Could the virus have been engineered as a bioweapon? This hypothesis, while alarming, has been considered by some experts and dismissed by others. So, let's dive into the evidence and the arguments on both sides of this debate. First, we need to understand what constitutes a bioweapon. Typically, bioweapons are designed to be highly contagious and deadly, often with specific targets in mind. However, creating such a weapon is not only technically challenging, but also highly risky. On the one hand, some scientists argue that certain features of the virus, like its spike protein, seem unusually well adapted to infect humans, which could suggest intentional design. On the other hand, many virologists point out that similar characteristics can arise naturally through the process of evolution. Furthermore, the genetic sequences of SARS-CoV-2 do not show markers typically associated with laboratory manipulation. The World Health Organization and other leading health agencies have conducted investigations and found no concrete evidence supporting the bioweapon theory. While it's crucial to remain open to all possibilities, the prevailing scientific consensus leans heavily towards a natural origin. So as we continue to study and learn from this pandemic, it's essential to base our conclusions on rigorous scientific evidence rather than speculation. Governments around the world responded to the COVID-19 pandemic in a variety of ways. Some implemented strict lockdowns and travel bans, while others opted for more lenient measures. The societal impact was profound, with economies shuttering, healthcare systems overwhelmed, and individuals facing unprecedented levels of uncertainty. The varying responses highlighted the challenges and complexities of managing a global health crisis. The pandemic also brought to light issues of cover-ups and censorship. In some regions, information about the virus was suppressed, leading to a fog of uncertainty that complicated efforts to understand and combat the disease. The lack of transparency and the spread of misinformation created significant obstacles for public health officials and researchers alike. The collaboration between the United States and China in scientific research, particularly in the realm of gain-of-function studies, became a focal point of discussion. These studies, aimed at understanding how viruses evolve, raised questions about the potential risks and benefits. The international scientific community grappled with the ethical implications and the need for stringent safety protocols. As the world continues to recover from the pandemic, the search for accountability and future preparedness remains crucial. Governments, organizations, and individuals are reflecting on the lessons learned to better prepare for potential future outbreaks. The focus is on building resilient healthcare systems, improving global cooperation, and ensuring that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Gap 3S. As the world continues to recover from the pandemic, the search for accountability and future preparedness remains crucial. Governments, organizations, and individuals are reflecting on the lessons learned to better prepare for potential future outbreaks. The focus is on building resilient healthcare systems, improving global cooperation, and ensuring that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Gap 3S. But this raises a critical question. Who is responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic? Why is there no accountability and no consequences for the perpetrators? Was the virus developed or engineered to create wealth for a few corporations and elites? This chapter will explore these questions and delve into the potential motives behind the pandemic. Gap 3S. We will investigate the various theories that suggest the pandemic was either a catastrophic accident or a deliberate act of bioengineering. Some believe that the virus was released to destabilize economies, while others argue it was a strategic move to consolidate power and wealth among a select few. Gap 3S. Examining the financial gains made by pharmaceutical companies and tech giants during the pandemic, we will trace the flow of money and influence. Did these entities have advanced knowledge of the virus? Were there conflicts of interest that compromised public health policies? And Gap 3S. We will also look into the role of international organizations and governments. Have they been transparent in their investigations and responses, or have they been complicit in covering up the true origins of the virus? Gap 3S. As we navigate through these complex questions, our aim is to shed light on the potential motives and beneficiaries of this global crisis. Only by understanding the full scope of the pandemic's impact can we hope to hold those responsible accountable and prevent future occurrences. Gap 3S. Join us as we uncover the layers of intrigue and speculation surrounding COVID-19. The truth may be elusive, but the pursuit of it is essential for our collective future.